are here today at the birth, at the launch of a new force in British politics. Welcome to the Brexit Party.
We tell them we're going, and if they don't understand it, we can talk to Juncker in a language which he does understand, and we can say, nous allons, monsieur, nous allons.
I joined the Conservative Party in 1984. This is not a decision I have made lightly. To leave a party for which I have fought at every election since 1987, from Maggie Thatcher through to Theresa May. I know which one I'd rather have representing us now.
I got a letter addressed to me, opened it up, and it was in very spidery handwriting. And the author of the letter said, "Dear Mr. Farage, during the war, I served in Bomber Command on many missions over occupied Europe." He said, "I can tell you, you only start getting flack when you're getting near the target."
Please welcome to the stage all the Brexit Party candidates.
And so to our final speaker. Well, he needs little introduction. It's fair to say that he's had a fairly significant impact on British politics. Indeed, he is without question the most influential politician that has had an influence on British history, British politics, since, I believe, the Second World War. And I talked earlier about the courage of our candidates, but the bravery and the courage of Nigel Farage over the last 25 years, who has the original Brexiteer, the original Brexiteer. He has battled through abuse, through vitriol, through threats to his own personal safety and that of his family. And we saw that again just yesterday in Wakefield, in Newcastle. Absolutely appalling behaviour by sore losers. So it's fantastic. Before we welcome him to the stage, let's just watch Nigel in action on the screen.
Cameron sent that leaflet through every home in the country which said, whatever the result, we will implement the decision. I was elected back in 1999. 20 years I've served over there. 20 years that I've stood up in that chamber. We woke up on that beautiful morning of the 24th of June 2016, and despite everything, despite what we'd been told, we voted to leave, and what we've seen ever since then is the most willful, persistent, deliberate betrayal of the greatest democratic exercise ever made in the history of this country. It is a disgrace. When we were promised by both of those parties, when it went into British law, yes, Mrs. May, I admit, I made a mistake. I did not believe that a vicar's daughter could be so willfully duplicitous with the British nation as you've been. If we win these elections and win them big, perhaps something starts to matter again. A word that we actually made huge sacrifices, twice in the 20th century, to defend the very notion of democracy. It is democracy itself that has been betrayed. We must fight for it. Never again. When the two mainstream parties tell us, trust us, we will deliver, never again will we trust them. What we've got to do is take on a two-party system that is letting down this country. We've got to take them on. I'm upbeat. I'm no longer angry because I'm part of something whereby I believe we can change politics for good. Are you with us?
Please welcome to the stage, Nigel Farage.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Hello, London! Wow. Do you know, we only launched this party 5.5 weeks ago. And in that space of time, we've managed to assemble this fantastic team of candidates to put before the British electorate. We've managed in 5.5 weeks to go to the head of the opinion polls. That's not bad, is it? We've managed in 5.5 weeks not just to frighten the establishment. Oh no, they're not frightened. They're absolutely terrified. But perhaps most important of all, what we've managed to do in those 5.5 weeks since we launched in that factory in Coventry is we've managed to give millions and millions of people in this country who were frustrated, upset, angry, on the point of saying they may never engage with the democratic process again. So sick to death were they of the shenanigans in Westminster. And you know what we've given them in the Brexit Party? We've given them hope, optimism and belief in this country and in the democratic process.
But it's worth reminding ourselves of why we're here. I mean, I can scarcely believe that I'm here. 20 years I've been in that European Parliament. 20 years of getting up. One or two of you may have seen my speeches, I don't know. 20 years of getting up, giving my always helpful, constructive speeches over there. Oh no, I think Mr. Van Rompuy rather enjoyed it, really. 20 years of taking on him and Mr. Juncker and Donald Tusk and Michel Barnier and, oh, I've got better than that, Guy Verhofstadt. 20 years of doing my bit, but 20 years of trying to do myself out of a job. 20 years of being the turkey that always wanted to vote for Christmas. So I never imagined I'd be standing in these elections, and come to think of it, if I've given them a tough time over there, what do you think Anne Widdecombe's going to do when she gets there? They won't know what's hit them. They won't know what's hit them. But look, the reason we're here is very simple. We had that I'm doing my best. The reason we're doing this is because after that astonishing referendum, when, remember, Project Fear was in full mode, wasn't it? We had that Chancellor, George Osborne, telling us that 500,000 jobs would go immediately. There'd be an emergency budget. Taxes would go up. House prices would crash. Foreign and direct investment would cease to come into our nation. Trade would collapse. Plagues of black locusts would descend upon our land. We had that. Then they even shipped in, they thought this was their big card. I won't say Trump card, but he did come from America, and he was called President Obama. Remember that? Our best ally in the world. And their leader came and told us we'd go to the back of the queue if we voted for Brexit. We had, of course, we were lucky though, lucky in the referendum that we have a state broadcaster in this country. Well, I'm sure you're all delighted, paying your £150 a year to the BBC, aren't you? I'm surprised. I mean, personally, I'm a particular fan of the Andrew Marr show, I can tell you. But despite media bias, despite Project Fear, despite it all, we voted for Brexit, and we did so by a large and clear majority of 1.3 million. And remember that David Cameron, do you remember David Cameron? David Cameron told us in that leaflet that went through every door in the land that our will would be implemented. And then we had a general election in which both the Conservative and Labour parties promised us that if we voted for them, they would honour the result of the referendum. And 498 members of Parliament voted for Article 50. And it went into British law. And it said we would leave the European Union on March, thank you. We would leave the EU on March the 29th with or a deal. With or without a deal. And that became part of British law. And I have to tell you that I made, without doubt, the biggest political mistake of my life. Because I believed it was going to happen. I believed they would deliver. I'm sure most of you believed they would deliver. Because after all, we are supposed to be a democratic country. And yet, as the months went by, from Mrs. May coming back with her Chequers deal, all the way through her constant rejections by the House of Commons. Oh, and by the way, have you seen what she's done this afternoon? I mean, just when you think she can't sink any lower, she comes back and surprises us. I mean, now she's surrendered to virtually everything. Surrendered to the customs union, surrendered to single market rules. Oh, and the icing on the cake, if you vote for her deal, there's a chance of having a second referendum. If there are any Conservatives out there who are Eurosceptic, who believe in the democratic process, who are half thinking about voting for May's Conservatives on Thursday in the European elections, you've just been told you are not wanted. But I know where they can go. The Brexit Party. Now, I watched this slow motion betrayal, and I realized as March the 29th approached that we simply weren't going to leave. And I thought to myself, it's unbelievable really, but I've spent 25 years of my life campaigning for us to be a free and independent country. I thought through much of it that I might become the patron saint of lost causes, but I kept on going. And having seen what Parliament was going to do, and by the way, both parties here are as guilty as each other, make no doubt about that. So I had a decision to make. Would I allow myself to simply be rolled over by the political process, or would I stand up and fight? And I decided I would stand up and fight, and that is why I founded the Brexit Party. It's why we're here today. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm pleased that you're pleased, but clearly not everybody is pleased. I said to you earlier that the establishment were terrified, and of course, what they cannot believe, what they cannot comprehend, is that we have managed, in the space of 5.5 weeks, to get over 100,000 people to pay £25 online and to give money to the Brexit Party. What an achievement that is in this country. But not content with that, they've decided to go on an all-out attack. And yesterday we saw Gordon Brown attack the potential financial probity of the Brexit Party. Yeah, that's right. Gordon Brown. Let's work this out for a moment, shall we? Gordon Brown attacked our financial probity. This is the man who's... He did, well done. You should be up here, really, sir. Gordon Brown, the man who told the world the dates on which he would do it, and sold 400 metric tons of gold at $270 an ounce. Thank you, Gordon Brown, for that. But worse still, Gordon Brown, who along with Tony Blair had as their chief fundraiser Lord Levy, when, and I'll try my best not to be sued for libel here, when, shall we say, an astonishing number of Labour donors went to the House of Lords, and he has the effrontery to attack us for our funding? It's outrageous that he should behave like that. And of course, surprise, surprise, an hour after Gordon Brown attacks us, guess what happens? The Electoral Commission announce that they're going to mount a dawn raid on the offices of the Brexit Party. Well, let me just tell you this for a fact, all right? We have a team of 4 professionally trained accountants looking after the money. We're not stupid. We know what to do. And last week, we met the Electoral Commission, and they said our processes were correct. They had no concerns. Indeed, we said to them, would you come into our offices and look at our systems? They said, no, we haven't got time before the election. We asked them to put in writing. The fact that our processes were good, but they didn't decide to take us up on it. And blow me down, turn up this morning, Elcom, at 10 o'clock this morning. Now, it was decided that I might not be the best person to greet them. That was a good call. So Richard got the job. And can I tell you, after 7 hours today in the office, the Electoral Commission have not found a single misdeed by the Brexit Party of any kind at all. So let's make it clear, shall we? Let's make it clear to the conspiracy theorists, to those who think somehow the Russians are funding us. Let's make it clear to the media where our money comes from. Would you please put up your hand if you've paid your £25 to be... There we are. I better do it as well, haven't I, really? That is where our money is coming from. It's coming from this growing mass movement of people who are excited, energetic, optimistic, and realise we will get Brexit, but we just have to stand up and fight for it again. There are other aspects of the campaign that have been slightly unpleasant, but I'm not even going to dignify the behaviour of that yobbo yesterday by talking about it. We will simply move on. But why vote for the Brexit Party on Thursday? Well, I think this is now about far more than leaving the European Union. This is now about a bigger, more fundamental question of democracy. Are we a democratic country? Do we trust our political class? And how do you think the rest of the world now sees us? Mrs. May, by her constant, abject surrenders to these unelected bully boys in Brussels, has humiliated our nation, and I've had enough of it. Let's stand up and be proud of who we are. Vote for the Brexit Party this Thursday, and if the Brexit Party can win this Thursday, and if the Brexit Party can win well this Thursday, we put back on the table for that new deadline of the 31st of October, Halloween, trick or treaty. But if we win this election well, we put back on the table for that date our exit, on WTO terms. If we win big on Thursday, we will kill off any prospect of Parliament forcing a second referendum upon us, because they know they would lose. If we vote for the Brexit Party and we win on Thursday, we demand, given that democratic mandate, that people out of this team, people who've got competence, people who've been in business, people who do deals for a living, unlike the career politicians on our front benches, and we demand that we are part of that negotiating team to make sure that we do leave the European Union on the 31st of October. We must be part of that process. And if we win well, if we win big on Thursday, there are a couple of really nice little bonuses that'll be attached. The first is we will quickly get rid of the worst, most duplicitous, and I still disagree with Anne Widdecombe. She's not the worst Prime Minister since Anthony Eden. She's the worst Prime Minister in the history of our nation. She'll be gone. And you never know, given the way we are smashing the Labour vote in Wales and in the Midlands and in the north of England, you never know, a big Brexit win may get rid of Jeremy Corbyn as well. How about that? What a deal. What a deal. Buy one, get one free. How about that? But I will never make the same mistake that I made again. I keep being asked, well, what will happen when the Conservative Party have a new leader? What will happen if somebody like Boris becomes leader? Boris Johnson said that Mrs. May's new treaty would lead us to vassalage. It would lead us to being a slave state. In fact, I thought, steady on. I mean, he's using language even stronger than I am. What's going on here? And then what happened? What happened on the third time Mrs. May brought it back to the House of Commons? Despite all he'd said and all he'd done, he voted for it. What I've learnt is you cannot trust the political class in this country. We must not trust the political class in this country. And that actually the two-party system doesn't work anymore. Politics is broken. Somebody, us, the Brexit Party, has to challenge and break that two-party system. That is what we have to do. And we need major reform. Major reform. We've got to get rid of a House of Lords that is full of 700 of Mr. Blair and Mr. Cameron's cronies. Oh, and the Electoral Commission. Filled up with political placemen and women, all of whom are Remainers, all of whom are part of that Westminster establishment. I think they should all be replaced and more representative of this country. We need We need wholesale political change. We're the only party fighting this European election with a clear, distinctive message. We are saying we must leave on the 31st of October this year. We must leave with or without any form of trade agreement, because we demand nothing less than this country being a self-governing, independent, proud nation who governs herself, chooses her own alliances and friendships around the world. And look at the advantages we have. 2.4 billion people living in the Commonwealth. Let's reach out to them. Let's reach out to a bigger world. And if anybody thinks that what I'm asking is for you to go out and protest on Thursday, if you think I'm asking you to go out and stick up two fingers to the establishment on Thursday, well, there's good reason, of course, to stick up two fingers to the establishment, but actually I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to vote for us on Thursday as the first step to fundamentally changing politics for good in this country. We are attempting, and this is by far the most ambitious thing I've ever done, we are attempting a peaceful political revolution in this country. It is needed. It is needed. It is needed. Are you with us? Thank you. Thank you. Cool. Hot work. I did.
I think we can safely say, ladies and gentlemen, the training has paid off. Without question, he's back and he plans to win. Now, we've just got time for a few questions. We can still have a bit of fun in politics.